Call to order. The regular meeting of the Governing Board of Education is called to order by Dr. Joseph Komrosky at 4:00 p.m. on Tuesday, October 17, 2023 at the District Office Conference Center. Are there any requests for changes to the agenda?
Yes.
I have a request for Mr. Schwartz.
Yes, I would. I would like to have the minutes from the last meeting pulled for correction, and I would also like to pull action items 4, 9, 11, and 12. 4, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Can you give me a second?
10, 11, 12. Yes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
No, he said four.
Just one on the consent. Sorry. Just the minutes on the consent calendar for a correction, and action items 4, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Okay, just let me look at them real quick.
Sure.
Mr. Schwartz, is there any reason in particular that you want these items
Yes.
pulled? Is there
I
something?
feel that I'll go through them one at a time. Let me just turn to them and tell you what I want to do. So number 4 is reopener of negotiations, which we've already concluded. Not only have we concluded them, but TVEA has passed them. So I believe if we reopen negotiations, we might be in violation of public employment. We might be in violation of fair bargaining practices, since we already concluded negotiations and TVA approved them and the membership approved them. As far as number 9 and 10, I've done quite a bit of research on wireless communications. I provided all of you with the research that I found from the World Health Organization, the American Cancer Society, and the FCC, who all say there is no danger of cancer from cell phones or cell phone towers. And as far as number 11, this is an issue I've spoken to Dr. Komrosky about in emails. We all have the same power to decide who sits where, and I don't think that I want to give it up to the president because he wants it for his sole purpose. And for number 12, it's kind of vague. I don't know what we're talking about, what kind of subcommittees or who's going to be on them. So I just think maybe we need to talk about it before we vote on it.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Schwartz.
Sure.
We could maybe section this off into 2, and then why pull the minutes?
Because they need to be corrected.
Is there anything specific?
Yes. So when we voted on,
Because couldn't we edit it?
sorry?
Oh, I thought you were pulling to
Pulling
where-
them for discussion because it's on the consent, is what he was saying with the
Yeah,
minutes.
it's on
Is
the
that correct,
consent
Mr.
calendar.
Schwartz?
The minutes are on the.
Well, the other
minutes.
ones weren't pulled for discussion, so I didn't know if you lumped them all in. Okay, that's fine.
So the minutes of the last board meeting read that the vote on the TVEA contract was 2 for and 2 abstentions. If you look at the governance handbook with regard to abstentions, it says when someone wants to abstain from a vote, they have to announce it at the time the issue is brought up, and there are only 3 reasons you can abstain on a vote. One of them is you have a personal interest in it. The second is it's to remove a board official. And the third is something to do with a personal interest in a contract. And since the two people who said they abstained did not follow the procedure, I believe their vote should be recorded as a non-vote rather than an abstention. I gave it to you on consent calendar number 2. It's a copy of the board governance handbook on how you can abstain from a vote.
So let's, so we have a motion and a second. Can we amend it to deal with them separately, all the action items on one, and then the minutes on the second one?
Sure.
Mine? Okay,
Absolutely.
so this is all in favor to pull the 5 action items that Mr. Schwartz recommended. Sorry, Lene, if you can do a roll. All for pulling them.
Gonzalez,
Nay.
Barclay,
Aye.
Schwartz,
Aye.
Wiersma,
Nay.
Komrosky.
Nay. Motion not adopted. Thank you, Lene. And now the second one for the minutes, and correct me if I'm wrong, so if we pull that and talk about it, we're just going to amend the minutes.
That's fine, as long as they're amended to reflect what actually happened.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair.
Fair enough.
Have we run that by legal already? Didn't we have I wasn't here, I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
didn't we run that through legal the night of?
we did.
No.
And let me ask you a question, Mr. Schwartz.
No.
What page were you looking at?
Page 18 of the governance handbook, I gave everyone a copy.
Right.
That's why
On that same page, it says 3 members must vote in favor of any action to
No,
pass. You're
I-
not disputing that.
No, I know it didn't pass. I just want the votes recorded as non-votes rather than abstentions, which is
And that's,
a whole
I think
different
that's
thing.
what was run
Yeah.
by legal, is if it could be, voted down with 2 not voting. So that's not in question. I
No.
guess, I'm putting words in your mouth,
No.
Mr. Schwartz, but.
No,
I'm
no, no,
assuming.
absolutely
Yeah,
not.
my only concern is just changing the record from kind of what actually happened there at the board meeting, because I believe 2 members did
Yeah, abstain.
abstain
I'm
verbally.
Excuse
I
me,
just-
they did not abstain. If
Okay,
you're going to...
I'm not arguing the fact.
I purposely made copies of the governance handbook so everyone could see the procedure for abstentions. I'm not arguing
Sure.
that they voted the way they voted. I just want it reflected that it was not an abstention, according to our governance handbook. It was a non-vote.
I think,
Now, I'm not disputing the outcome,
Yeah.
which I understand.
I do think Mr. Gonzalez is raising a good point, though, because we in fact abstained.
Whether or not that was the
Right.
proper,
Right.
you understand what I mean? And
No,
I don't know,
no,
I don't know that that was
I'm
the
sorry,
proper way
and
to do that at the time.
I'm
but that-
sorry, and I don't
Okay.
want to get into a huge argument over this. Either we're going to follow the governance handbook when we want to, or we're going to follow it all the time. This is what it says, and that's what I am saying. So if you want to just throw it out, that's up to you guys. But I'm going to say we should follow what's in the handbook
Yeah, I'm not
if we're going to deal fairly with each other.
Okay, so let.
That's all.
And
right,
I
so
would agree, Mr. Schwartz.
So we have a motion for pulling the minutes to adjust them. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Lene, if you can do a roll, and this is to pull the minutes to readjust.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Barclay,
Aye.
Schwartz,
Aye.
Wiersma,
Nay.
Komrosky.
Nay. Motion adopted, so we'll take a look at those minutes.
I would just have
Thank
legal
you.
take a look at it.
Good.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question on the agenda? It's on our calendar that we're supposed to be having a study session tonight and some other presentations, but I don't see them on the agenda. We just got a written report. Is there a reason we're not doing the study session as we voted on as a board?
So one member showed interest, but that member was contacted, and that member was fine for that to go into a Friday memo, but I don't really want to prolong the conversation because those aren't on the agenda, so we can't really talk about them.
I'm not following. One member showed interest in what?
The CTE study session?
I did as well,
Okay. Well, it's not on the agenda tonight.
but that was voted on by the board. I mean, I'm just concerned because this has been happening other times too, that things that we put on that calendar aren't on there. And the purpose of that is so that we can learn about it, not just us, but the community. And it's not, as transparent as we could be as a board if we're not receiving those presentations. I mean, the communications plan was on, which I know is something that we really did want to hear more about and ask questions. And, you know, I didn't hear anything until I received the agenda that it wasn't there.
Okay, thanks for the comment. I just want to move along now and vote in the agenda. We got the minutes, so now
So
we
just
have to
so
approve.
just so I'm understanding, so we're not following the calendar we voted on?
I'm not going to give you a further comment because I've already addressed that.
So we are or we're not? It's
What
a
I'd like to
simple
do-
question, Joe.
yeah.
I'm not sure, we're just having a conversation. I'm confused why that's not on the agenda, so I'm just asking.
That was pulled for a Friday memo.
When we voted it to be here, I mean, that's not following our own procedures and our own policies as a board.
Yeah, it's not clear that it was voted in, but,
It wasn't?
yeah, so,
Well, I'm happy to look at the
So,
minutes.
right,
So this is a 5-person board,
yeah.
and we all have say about the things that we talk about in study sessions and those presentations.
Yeah, so here's the deal. We're not doing that tonight. So there's no point in talking about it right now because
Okay,
it's
well,
literally not on the agenda.
shine up your crown there, Joe, shine it up.
No, and see, that's unprofessionalism, Mrs. Barclay.
And
Thank
this
you for
isn't?
rejecting that.
That we voted on it as a
Shine-
board and
shine it up.
discussed it. Well, you're acting like you're the king of the board.
no, there's
when
no
there's
acting
no
like a
king
king.
of the
You know
board.
what?
We
You know-
operate as a 5-person board.
Point of order, Mrs. Barclay.
Can I pull a consent item?
Yeah, and then we'll finally approve the agenda. Yeah, what?
Number
consent?
10.
Which is number 10?
It's
Ms.
Capital
Wiersma?
Advisors.
Capital advisors, okay. We have a motion and a oh wait, that's just, okay. So that item's been pulled. So do we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda outside of the minutes that were pulled by Mr. Schwartz?
I'm sorry, were we talking about consent item 10, or we're not?
Yeah, no, that's already pulled. Mrs.
Oh, it's
Ms.
pulled?
Wiersma. Yeah, it's,
By
no, it's
who?
pulled for discussion.
I just want to know who did it.
Yeah, Mrs. Wiersma.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pulled for discussion, so now we're outside of the minutes that we pulled, that we voted on. Now we're just going to approve the agenda as is. Do we have a motion and a second?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Mrs. Wiersma. Ms. Linay, would you, or Linay, excuse me. would you mind
Gonzalez,
taking a-
Aye.
Schwartz,
no,
Barclay,
Nay.
sorry, went out of order there. Wiersma,
Aye.
Komrosky.
Aye. Motion adopted, so we have the agenda approved. And announcement of the closed session items. In accordance with the Government Code Section 54957.7, the board will meet in closed session for consideration of the items listed in Section E. Do we have any public comments? No public comments, so, yep. We'll just wait for everybody to